Everybody, thanks for watching. And just a quick reminder that the lecture at UNLV on the Gospel of Hip Hop is now available on Merkabah Academy. Make sure Never Pagan members scroll down to Never Pagan section in conscious courses, and the video should be right there at the top. Thanks to everybody who checked it out, and a lot of questions about the video. And it's long. It's a lot of stuff we got into, a lot of stuff we couldn't get into. So make sure you guys check the video out. But part of the reason why we're doing this video to get into just a lot of questions people had about things we didn't talk about. One of the things we didn't really get into is just the consciousness aspect of hip hop, and so many different terms. But one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about the industry, of course, and we all see this throughout social media, all of the memes and everything on the pineal gland, and just the whole, esoteric part of hip hop that people call, devil worship and scary, spooky, or what have you. And there's a lot of just, information out there that, points you in different directions. And a lot of it is based on what you believe in. So a lot of people who are Christians don't understand like algorithms and how stuff work and how you are being fed certain feeds or certain information based on your searches or what you show to follow and believe in. So if it's Christianity, a lot of your searches and information you pick up on online is going to be geared towards that belief, So if you're on social media constantly looking up stuff, especially on YouTube, that is pro-Christian, you're going to get a lot of pro-Christian results and stuff that's going to, go towards what you believe in. And it's why you have to be biased, unbiased in your research, and not be biased in your research, so you can get both sides of the coin, yin and yang, so you can understand both sides, not the sides that's going to feed your ego and what you want to believe. So you got to understand a lot of this stuff is nonsense, and you know it to be nonsense. That's why you have conflict within yourself about, this whole subject. So we're going to get into this because it's deep, just understanding what the pineal gland is, understanding what all of this so-called satanic worship stuff stems from and how deep it is and how far it go back. So this is going to be a pretty good video on, a lot of the stuff I touched on, but I want to touch on a few things that people just don't understand. And, we go back to the ancient Egyptians, and the reason why so many people revere them and study them more than any other people on the planet in history is because they knew so much about the body. So a lot of the things we see with, secret societies, especially the Masons, how we see this stuff go back to the ancient Egyptians is because they knew so much. And with this subject, pineal gland, we can go all the way back to the Sumerians or what have you as well. And we can see that they had this understanding and this knowledge about the pineal gland long before anything biblical, before established religions. And it's a part of you. It's the body. It's something you shouldn't be scared of because you use it all the time, every day. And it's something that a lot of people just have this fear when people talk about opening the third eye and how people associate that with this satanic devil worship stuff. And you use it. You're literally using it right now. And you use it every day. And it's something that's so normal and natural. But we have to understand what took place and how knowledge has become taboo. Knowledge has become forbidden. I touched on this before, how they took everything that was normal, common knowledge, or, knowledge that would be considered esoteric or taught in the mystery schools, and they made it, demonic or, evil or what have you. And it's something that is stuff that we should know about, and you got to understand why they don't want you to know about this stuff. So now to do this, we're going to go back to the age of enlightenment, because this is where in modern times we can say, this is where this stuff kind of stems from. And even the Bible talks about the age of enlightenment and ways and how it influenced the church, and it really changed the world, and people just don't have no clue. And we go back to the French Revolution, and the French Revolution is huge, and it's big on what would happen and what would take place in America and how they will basically change the world and change the way they deal with societies. So I talked about this before on how you had monarchies, you had kingdoms, and how they was controlling the people. So if you look at the papacy, Catholicism, and Catholic Church, and how they established their rule after the Crusades, And civilizations was ruled and basically based on Christianity throughout Europe and, Christian values. And you had, Puritans, of course, Protestants, you had these philosophers who was, a lot of people was in opposition to the church and just the way they was pushing their influence on society. Because let's keep it real, the stuff they're talking about is just, it was too much faith, too much doctrine involved in society into smart people was nonsense. Now, in the late 18th century, they didn't have, 1790s, they didn't have the kind of influence that they have today with the visualization of Christianity and everything like that. So people were way more smarter. They were more enlightened. So in France, not only did you have just the economy doing so bad, yeah, Louis XVI, who had no clue what he was doing, treating the people bad, trying to raise taxes, and it was just a monarchy going wrong, trying to use its rule, over the people. And you had people, so many philosophers who really was the cause of the French Revolution because they influenced the middle class back then with the Enlightenment, with, them just putting out sensible, easy solutions. And like everybody around them is like, well, why isn't this, this rulership implementing these simple things that can clearly help the people? So you had the French Revolution, and what happened to Louis XVI? Guillotine, off with his head, cut his head off. And about 9 months later, did the same thing to Marie Antoinette. Cut her head off in the same place. So this was just a big eye opener to the powers that be. And up until this point, their plan had worked. They had established themselves around the world with these monarchies, and they had things under control religious wise, because we got to look at how we can go back and see. I mean, everything was just, saturated with religion. Everything you did, everywhere you go, religion, religion, religion. And you had these philosophers, these educated people that were just like, no, this is bullshit. Why are we doing stuff based off of things that's not proven? This is bullshit. Why are we running our society based on this religion, faith, or what have you? This is bullshit. We could be growing as a people, but we're stuck in this dogma and this arguments about stupid shit. And this isn't the direction that we should go into. And then on top of that, it's not helping us economically. It's poverty and it's social issues. It was problems that was, in the French society back then that they just didn't see religion helping. And of course, they're saying, well, shit, y'all praying to this God and this God's supposed to be helping y'all. Why are we having these issues? And this God who is basically, saturated throughout society is doing nothing. Why are we having these issues? We should stick to science. Understand? Because they wanted society to be ruled by natural law, by, science, experiments, observation. This is how we're going to come to a conclusion. And this is how we're going to rule society based on these principles, not faith, belief, and this bullshit we can't prove. So they were able to influence the people enough to cause a revolt, a freaking revolution, civil war, and, kill a king and queen. Think about this. So, of course, the powers that be is like, oh, shit, because, France has never had a king again since Louis XVI. That was the end of the monarchy. So in France. So, of course, everything had to change, once that happened. We're talking about 1793 is when they killed Louis the 16th. So French Revolution happened. Of course, this is after the American Revolution. We had these two revolutions happen. You understand what's taking place. You have the American Revolution happening here. And then you have the French Revolution, years later. So to the powers that be, it's a complete change. And the power, the dominance they spent, hundreds of years to establish, it's going away. It's falling. So something has to change. So we got to look at, as I was saying, how we go from this, religion being saturated in society to just all of a sudden religion is like, we say we do stuff on Christian values, but we don't. Society's not really based on religion if you look around, but it was before. So they can't really harp on it as much as they did back then, even though they tried to. But it was the age of enlightenment. People were smarter and it changed things. So then society, the new, ruling class had to change. And it just took time. Same thing in America, same thing over there in France, to where they can get power. So we know what happened in America with the banking system. And excuse me, I got to go through this to get to the, pineal and all that stuff. So I'm just giving you this history. So we know what happened in America with the banking system taking over, as I talk about, and basically the same thing in France, but not at first. What really took France, we know, is World War II, because we still had this domination of the, philosophers, kind of sort of scientists, and this whole ideology of just stuff being right and working correctly, not the stupid way we see with the way the government do things now. It shouldn't be this hard for a society of educated people to function and have things work for everybody. So with Hitler coming into France, I mean, you got to think about that. It's crazy, for him to invade such a, prominent country, powerful country, we would think. But Hitler's invaded. And while, later we're talking about a new world order and everything is this new world order, in France back then, they was trying to establish a new civil order, but that would be to the benefit of the people. So we had this new civil order trying to be established, even going back to French Revolution, and here comes Hitler. And then, they bomb all the key places and they basically take over. So when we have basically the new world order of Europe, which is what basically took place out of World War II, it's basically a new world order with Europe, and everything is changed. Everything's different after that. So the position that the people were in to be able to take control of the country and establish themselves this new civil order that was going to be based on, just enlightenment and just common sense and science and things that would have took the society way further, that was halted, that was stopped. The country was devastated. And, World War II changed that, and it was part of the job of Hitler. So fast forward, all that happened. Obviously, they can't allow this to happen again. So we have to take control of the growth of knowledge that's taking place throughout society. So of course, eventually they would take control of schools. That's why school fell under government. We got to think about that before you can pass knowledge down throughout your family. They made us so lazy because they put us in a system that's, relying on you to have a job. You have to have a job to function in society. Job is going to take you away from your kids. It's crazy for us to be a people that's together and we all in this together. And it's so easy for us to be in society and have it function, opposite from what it is. Why do we have a money system that is divisive? We're not going to be a people united if we have a money system. It shouldn't be that way. If we're truly together, then we should work together. Imagine, being in your house and you're home with your kids, but you're making your kids go to work and buy food, and they got to pay for every little thing they do. They got to pay to use the bathroom. They got to pay to watch TV. It's going to be problems in their household. It's like, well, you're growing and you have to do this, so let me do what I got to do to make money. Or we can all work together in this house. You can do this, you can do that. It'll be beneficial to us all, and there is no money involved. We just doing what we need to do as a household so the household can function, and then there's no problems. Everybody is happy. We do what we got to do. We take care of each other in a way that it should be. If 5 of you ended up on a desert island somewhere, you're going to have to work together in order to survive. You can't say, well, if you want one of these coconuts, you got to give me some money, because you might need them for something else. So a money system, that's why they say money is the root of all evil. It's evil. It's just an evil system that divides the people, and that's what they want. So we go to the Bible. And of course, people just can't fathom that pineal is in the Bible. Genesis 32:30, Jacob said, called the name of the place Pineal, seeing God face to face and all that, even though the Bible says nobody has ever seen God. So what is Jacob talking about? He's seen the face of God. The name of the place was called Pineal. So it's clearly talking about the pineal gland. Okay. So we have to establish, what this is. And a lot of people don't understand how much they knew about the pineal gland back then. Of course, the ancient Egyptians knew about it. Sumerians knew about it. We see the symbolism all throughout the Vatican with the pine cone, or even with the Egyptians with the serpent. If we look at a pine cone, the scales on a serpent, when a snake resembles a pine cone, same thing with a fish. It has these scales, right? So it's talking about the pineal gland, and the pineal gland being so powerful So, Rene Descartes called it, the seat of the soul. That's where they came from. That's a Frenchman during this whole time with the French Revolution and all this Enlightenment happening in France. And it's esoteric to where you can understand it being God and just this whole connection that it has with the sun, because there's only two, organs in our body that basically, detects light, and that would be your eyes and the pineal gland. So with these celebrities, covering up the eye and everything like that, the third eye and all the symbolism and everything, and people see as satanic, of course, they're going to want that to be evil. Anything they don't want you to know or understand, they put under this influence of it being satanic and evil. So when you see all that, people are automatically associated with it being evil. But then they look in the Bible, and we know it's talking about third eye, it's talking about the pineal gland. We see pineal in the Bible being associated with God. And then these rappers calling themselves gods and wearing crosses because they understand the esoteric connection to the third eye and God and what all that means. It's them symbolically saying, I understand what's going on. I understand my part and my role in all this. And it's deeper than, just that. So we see all this. We see the connection, third eye, Egyptian mythology, Egyptian symbolism, I should say. And we see it, even Michael Jackson, Kanye West, a lot of artists, we see this ancient Egyptian symbolism, just them showing you, the connection, that they understand what's going on. So the pineal gland is so powerful. It's the key to the limbic system. So the amygdala, the hypothalamus, and the hippocampus, right? So you would have the hypothalamus basically deals with your emotional energy, your hormones, whatever, your emotions. And the hippocampus would be basically, your connection to the world around you, your memories, and just the connection to your surroundings, your atmosphere, hippocampus, campus. What is a campus? You go to school, you're on campus, and it's your hippocampus is dealing with your environment, the world around you, and how you react to it, So your amygdala would deal with basically your connection with the world around you emotionally, how you process that emotionally. So this is all in the brain. It's all dealing with the limbic system that is connected with the third eye, and how the third eye is a big major factor in these emotions that's wrapped up with your limbic system and how all of this functions. So think about what I'm talking about and how this third eye is basically regulating the world around you, how you feel, how you're going to act and think and what have you. It's being regulated through this. So your third eye really also deals with your creativity. So it's wrapped up in all that. So just as an artist, a musician, you're being creative. The satanic part of that is, what was Satan's job in heaven? He was basically the the choir director, you might as well say. They said that in the Bible would talk about, musical instruments being built in his being and everything like that. And he basically played the music that assembled the angels to God to hear God's word or what have you. So this is that connection, but it has to do with creativity and just so much more. And it's all esoteric when you understand. So talking about emotions, we talk about how you feel, which is everything. It's everything when you understand. Emotions could cause you to be happy and run out and do something inspirational that's going to benefit your life, or it can cause you to kill yourself, cause you to end your life or end others' lives. It's a big deal. So we don't look at how important that is, how big emotions is. It's everything. So something affecting how you feel affects your life. And we just don't make this connection with music and everything else, and how what is being put into us is affecting our reality on how we act and think and how we move. You saw something that inspired you and it caused you to go do something that made you rich and successful, or poor and broke, or put you in prison, or caused your death from emotions. So that's powerful. If you can control that, you can control the people, you can control the world, you control everything. So understanding that, how powerful that is, and that this third eye and, this, your hippocampus and all of these hormone secretions control you. And if somebody can control that and they can control you, that's power. Back in the day, they would call that witchcraft because they understood this deeply. They just erased it from history, that you actually had people out there trying to enforce this, not so much morally, but just as a, hey, This is fucking witchcraft. These people are trying to control you with this doctrine and what they're saying to you. It's influencing you and it's causing you to react from it emotionally. They're controlling you. So when we say religion is brainwashing and all, this is what we mean. It's somebody giving you messages that's really affecting what your mind, and you're reacting from it. And we all heard the term, I'm a morning person or a night person. It's a whole field called chronobiology, right? Where it's talking about these things and how it's being regulated throughout the body. And you have, way back in the day, this dealt with day and night, of course, and just how people's mood would change morning and night. Some people, they're night owl. They go out more active at night. They do so much at night. And you have people during the day who's just, summertime, daylight outside the sun, you moving, you're doing everything. So darkness, light. So in the world of enlightenment and just being spiritual, darkness is everything. Darkness is everything. Being in the dark is how you become enlightened. Understand what I'm saying? It's enlightenment. It's everything. It's power in the darkness. But they made you scared of the dark for a reason. So I talked about back in ancient Egypt how you had a whole, in the mystery school, the high priests, or what they would call them, their day started at night. The people who did observations of what we call the heavens or what have you, their day began at night, if you understand what I'm saying. So, they would sleep during sun up, and when sundown came, this is when they started, because they understood the power of being in darkness. And then if you're in darkness and you're meditating in darkness and the heavens is basically open where you can see the stars, there's a super spiritual connection. You understand? That's why we see all these rituals, there's darkness. And they made it a spooky setting for a reason, to scare you away from this stuff, because they don't want you understanding true power. So with meditation, it is key to go in and be in darkness and everything that I talk about, because this is all dealing with pineal gland, the pineal gland. They told you meditation was evil and all that stuff like that. Oh, you yoking and you're going in and you opening yourself up for demons. Yeah, you are. Of course you are, because the demons are you. The demons, meaning by what that means is, one, when you're alone with yourself, you real with yourself. This is why people can't meditate for a long time. I talked about this in the meditation series. Can't meditate for a long time because when you're alone with yourself and you're thinking, the real shit pops in. Damn, rent is almost due. Bills is due. I got to do this. I'm fucking all the evil shit you do, you're thinking about. You're in your brain, and the bad shit you're thinking about, the problems you're thinking about. And some people just can't be alone with themselves in the dark. It's scary because the real shit comes out. And they don't want to deal with that. So they made it a spooky set, and a lot of people don't want to deal with it because they understand what that entails. So this whole, chronobiology, just dealing with the seasons, so they could see that, summertime, of course, we're out, we're vibrant. Everybody's running around. It's fun time. It's playtime.